And welcome back to the Barry Foster Show, the podcast here on YouTube. And glad to have you with us. And a lot of things going on up in Tallahassee. I hope we have enough time in this broadcast to get down with everything that we've been able to find. There's this and more. Stay tuned. And I want to tell you, next week we have some very, very special guests coming on the program. First of all, though, I'd like to tell you some of the things that have been going on in Tallahassee. Finally, Florida lawmakers have fully passed legislation aimed to combat ballot initiative fraud. What this bill does, it revises the requirements for initiative petitions, petition sponsors, and petition circulators. Petition circulators must be U.S. and Florida citizens. They must not be convicted felons unless their rights have been restored. And all circulators must register and complete a state training. The deadline to turn in signed petitions to supervisors of elections has been reduced from 30 days to just 10 days. Pre-filed petitions no longer can be provided to prospective signers. The bill provides for the inclusion of the financial impact statement on the petition form, and there's an amended part of the bill where the House amended the measure to allow individuals to carry up to 25 petitions without completing petition circulator training. Okay, financial provisions include several monetary related restrictions and penalties. Paid circulators no longer can be paid under any incentive scheme that rewards the numbers collected, and that's where you got people signing fake names to get more money. That now has been eliminated. The use of public funds has been prohibited to advance or oppose a constitutional amendment in the bill. Copying or retaining a voter's personal identifying information will be now a third-degree felony, and sponsors will be liable for a $5,000 fine for each forged or altered petition unless the sponsor reports the illegal activity themselves. The sponsors are Senator Don Getz and Aaron Grawl, who represents the Highlands County area as well. It's a Senate Bill 7016. That's Senate Bill 7016. Republican Representative Jenna Persons-Molika is carrying a similar bill, which is House 1205, which has been amended by the Senate and passed through both chambers. This is really going to help election integrity a lot, and it's been a long time coming, and we are just so delighted that this is going to go to the governor for approval. It will take effect upon becoming law. So great news about the election integrity in the state of Florida and protecting it. We're glad to see that the Florida House and Senate are working so well together. And we found some more good news out of the Tallahassee area. The Republican Party of Florida has now launched a statewide campaign. It's called Rollback Now. It urges counties to adopt the rollback rate to provide immediate property tax relief to residents who have just been hit by soaring home values, escalating new tax bills. And what it does is, for the folks who don't know, when a county commission passes a budget, they have a thing called the rollback rate. When the trim or truth in millage rates go out, there is a rollback rate that it's the rate of millage that produces the exact same amount of dollars as the previous year. So anything more than that, $1 more than that, means it's really a tax increase. Even if they roll back the millage rate, if it produces more money, it's actually a tax increase. And our hats are off to the RPOF for the Rollback Now initiative. We hope that everyone listening to this program will take this before their respective county commissions and talk about this. I mean, some Florida counties have seen property tax revenues surge by over 50% since 2019. Some areas near 60%. You know, these hikes have put a lot of financial pressure on families, particularly retirees, fixed income households, people who are getting priced out of their houses. And it's just time that we look at the rollback rate. It's an amazing movement, and it's something that county commissions can do. In Highlands County, all 5 of the county commissioners are Republicans. So this is something that in Highlands County should be an easy thing. If you have a Republican majority in your county commission, this is something that I think you can take before them and show them that this is something that is beneficial for residents. And we've all had to cut back on our budgets. They need to cut back on their budgets as well. So they're asking residents to learn more about this by just going to hashtag rollbacknow.com. That's rollbacknow.com. And you can find out more about this movement. It's something that really needs to be looked into. And again, our hats are off to the Republican Party of Florida for doing this. Well, I'm sure by now most of us have heard about Operation Tidal Wave. Happened last week, brought around 800 illegal aliens arrested. Now, Governor Ron DeSantis says that Florida has submitted plans to the Department of Homeland Security that would allow Florida National Guard members to serve as immigration judges. The plan is to speed up the deportation process. He says they have the National Guard and the State Guard who are used to responding to a number of different kinds of contingencies. DeSantis says the state is ready, willing, and able to take it to the next level. And they have submitted plans to DHS to say, if this is approved, they'll go off to the races and we'll be able to do really a top-notch job of apprehension, detention, and putting some of the people in National Guard in line to serve as immigration judges to process this. He says, Florida can do it. He says, I'd also like to say that you hear a lot about due process. We have tens of thousands of illegal aliens in Florida at a minimum that already have been issued final orders for removal. An unnamed state official has said that JAG officers could take over the role as well and only need authoritative approval from the federal government to serve as immigration judges. And our kudos go out to Governor Ron DeSantis for taking this up a notch and beginning to move forward with getting rid of a number of illegal aliens that came across the border under the past administration without any kind of due process, and now begin to send them back to their home countries. This is something I think that is going to be a template for other states to see, so we'll see how this plays out. But Ron DeSantis now asking the Trump administration to allow Florida National Guardsmen to serve as immigration judges, and we'll keep you up to speed as how that process comes along. Well, Florida's been humming with new industry, and one of our favorites is Truth Social Media. President Donald Trump's media company, Trump Media and Technology, now has finalized reincorporation and is going to be located right here in Florida, moving out of Delaware. Earlier this year, the company had pointed to Florida already being their home state, so this does not come as any great surprise. But the controlling stockholder is at home in Florida. That would be President Trump. So moving out of Delaware, it really is a great move for the Sunshine State and just one of a number of businesses that are relocating here. And that's just one of a couple of other great moves of new business to Florida. We understand that Lockheed Martin's fleet ballistic missile operations are transferring to Florida from California. We are again becoming the space location in the nation. And there's also Citadel Advisors, which moves its headquarters from Chicago, and Rumble, which is relocated from Canada to Sarasota. So the Sunshine State really picking up new businesses on a number of different levels, and I think it's becoming a very business-friendly state thanks to Ron DeSantis and, of course, the Republican legislature right here in Florida. Meanwhile, we're hearing that Osceola County officials have announced the launch of the Florida Semiconductor Engine at Neo City. This is a project to train workers and to attract business from around the world. $500 million in federal investments. The 500-acre Neo City campus in Kissimmee. It's leading the state's effort to manufacture semiconductors here. Meanwhile, in St. Petersburg, Hattie, that's a 3D printed furniture company, opened their first micro factory. This is a 32,000 square foot facility and the world's largest 3D printing hub. It's powered by artificial intelligence and robotics. The facility's North Bay houses a A fleet of robots, Ada, Bumblebee, CO, Dolly, Edison, and Fibonacci, which actively 3D print furniture using melted materials repurposed from old fishing nets and plastics. It's a wide variety of industry coming to Florida, and we're just delighted to see it. And there may be some good news on the horizon for the citrus industry as well. A bill passed unanimously by the Florida Senate, it's still awaiting House approval, proposes $200 million for citrus growers to support recovery efforts. That includes tree replanting and grove rehabilitation. Of that amount, about $190 million would be allocated for field trials focused on grove management and disease-resistant varieties. We know that greening and citrus canker has just taken its toll on what once was a massive industry, and we're glad to see that the state is working to try to bring it back. This also would refund some research. This also would fund some research into alternative crops, maybe olives, hops, hemp, even muscadine grapes, which already are being tested in parts of the state. Industry leaders and grove owners are optimistic that the proposal will gain bipartisan support and help rebuild Florida's once great citrus industry. And if you've got a lead foot, there's one last piece of legislation you need to keep your eye on. Florida legislators have now passed a measure that cracks down on those excessively speeding on the state's roadway. It'll be considered by the governor. It defines dangerous, excessive speeding as anybody driving 50 miles an hour or more over the speed limit, or at 100 miles per hour driving in an aggressive manner. Upon the first conviction under this proposed measure, would be imprisoned for up to 30 days or fined $500 or both. And the second and further conviction, they could be imprisoned for up to 90 days and or fined $1,000 if that conviction occurs within 5 years after their prior conviction. Their driver privileges would be revoked for at least 180 days and as much as a year. Those provisions come under House Bill 351, brought by Susan Plasanilla and Danny Alvarez. The Senate bill was brought by Senator Jason Pizzo. Ultimately, the legislation passed through the House 75 to 38, but it was unanimous through the Senate 37 to nothing. If the governor signs that bill, it'll take effect July the 1st. That's some of the things going on in the Sunshine State. I want to tell you that coming up next week, we're going to have some very, very special guests. And we'll be back in the beautiful Ridge Florist Studios in downtown Avon Park. We appreciate everybody who's tuning in, and we would love to hear your input on this program. You can reach us at The Barry Foster Show at yahoo.com, The Barry Foster Show at yahoo.com, or check our Barry Foster Show Facebook page and log up there. Let us know what you think, and please feel free to subscribe and get your friend to subscribe. When we reach a certain level, we'll be able to go live ourselves. Please keep John Larson in your prayers. He's still having some problems with kidney stones, and we hope to have him back on the air with us very soon. So again, thanks to everybody tuning in, and we'll see you next time.